Shalom! Today, we will be reading MicaiYah and the Icky Bugs, written by Sharman Castillo, out of the book Wow Stories, Volume 1, copyright 2007. The fire. "Hurry, son!" yelled Amaziah. Amaziah was a tall man with light brown eyes and dark woolly hair. He was an easygoing man, someone you just felt completely comfortable approaching. But right now, he was anxious. He had been on the phone with the local sheriff's office and had learned that a fire had broken out on a piece of property that was not far off from a part of his own land where he allowed his cattle to graze. So he needed to leave right away so that he could get the cattle back across the river to a safer place before the fire overtook them. "Son, get a move on now, you hear?" Amaziah said from the kitchen. Amaziah's 15-year-old son ran from out of his room and down the hall to the kitchen where his father waited for him. He looked exactly like his father, just a younger version. Not far behind him were his two best friends, Rusty and Dusty, his German shepherds. "Ready, Dad. Just had to change my shoes." They both ran outside and jumped into their black pickup truck and headed down the country road that leads from their ranch to the main highway. It was about a 20-mile ride to the site they needed to get to in order to gather their herd back across the river to where they would be safe. They hadn't made it to the cutoff that leads to the river within 16 minutes. Amaziah had sped the entire way there. "Son, that fire there's about 3 or 4 hours off. We'll have plenty of time to get the animals across the water. We'll bring them a few miles onto this side of the property where they'll be safe. That fire will die out as soon as it reaches the water. But dang, I sure do hate to see all that green grass burnt up." "I know, Dad, but give it some time and I bet you it'll grow back next spring." It took them about 2 hours to get all of the animals across the river. They placed them in a field 2 miles out of the way where the animals could graze in peace. Amaziah suggested that they go back and take one more last look to make sure that they hadn't forgotten anything. They could see the fire off in the distance and knew it was only about an hour or so before it reached them. "Well, son, it looks clear, so let's head on home." They turned and headed back towards the pickup truck that was parked across the river in a gravel clearing. Along the way, Dusty and Rusty began to bark and wag their tails wildly. No matter how many times MicaiYah called them, they stayed in place and barked all the more. MicaiYah went to go see what all the fuss was about. They were still about 50 yards on the wrong side of the river, so they really didn't have much time to waste. MicaiYah had to go look down over a steep ledge in order to see what the dogs were barking at. He really couldn't tell what he was seeing, so he tried to squint his eyes to focus better. All he could really tell is that something, or rather some things, were moving down below. "Hey, Dad, I'm going down there. I don't know what those things are, but I can't leave them behind. I'm going to see if I can get them to follow me." The Icky Bugs.
"What a beautiful day! I could lay here forever,"
sighed Rayn. He was the littlest of the group. He and his Icky Bug friend were sunbathing on a rock. When they looked up from where they were laying on the rock, they could see the clear blue sky and green trees, lots and lots of green trees. The Icky Bugs lived in their own little paradise where they kept to themselves and stayed away from all of the other bugs. They thought themselves too good to make friends with the other bugs and snails that lived close by. What they failed to realize is that they smelled so awful, none of the other bugs wanted to be around them anyway. "Well, suit yourself. I am definitely going to get out of this heat and get some shade before all of this magnificent beauty of mine fades away." Lovely, the only girl allowed in their little group, went to find shade. "Hey, I have a better idea. Why don't we all go and gather twigs and bring them back here to to build a tent. That way, Lovely can rest in the shade while we swim in the pond, Toby suggested. All of the Icky Bugs readily agreed. Okay, let's split up and meet back here in 10 minutes. I'll take Rayn with me since he's so little. Rayn was offended. It seemed like every time they wanted to do something, he could never do it alone because he was too little.
We'll see about
Not
that.
today. Things were going to change.
No! I'm not going with you. I'm going by myself. How will you ever know if I can do anything if you never give me a chance to prove I can?
The other Icky Bugs stopped to think about what he had just said. They agreed to give Rayn a chance this one time. But if he failed, it was back to being paired up with another Icky Bug at all times.
That's right.
So each Icky Bug went their own separate ways. Rayn went up towards the high mountain where he knew there would be a lot of twigs and branches ripe for the picking. And he was right.
I knew it.
There was no one else there. Rayn was so happy, he was positive he would have the most twigs when he returned back to the rock. So he started gathering them as fast as he could. MicaiYah and Rayn. Rayn was humming and picking up twigs when suddenly a large shadow fell on him. When Rayn looked up, the most terrible sight he had ever seen was swooping down on him. He didn't know what it was, so he dropped all of his twigs and began to run. As luck would have it, he didn't get far. MicaiYah saw Rayn begin to run, so with his hands he swooped down quickly and picked him up. Don't be afraid, little bug. I'm not gonna hurt you. I'm here to help you.
Right.
My name is MicaiYah. What's yours? Rayn was shaking so hard that he could hardly think. But he could hear the kindness in MicaiYah's voice, so he answered back. Rayn? Well, Rayn, I'm not here to harm you. You see, there's a fire burning not far from here, and everything in sight is going to burn up.
Really?
I saw you and all your little friends from up on the cliff and came down here to rescue you. My dad is still over there waiting for me. I told him I had to come down here and talk to you.
Why should I believe you? I don't smell any smoke.
Rayn sniffed the air. Well, why would I lie? And why would my father let me come down here and risk my own life by coming down such a steep cliff if it were not true?
Kind of making some sense.
Rayn thought for a moment and realized MicaiYah had made a good point. So he asked MicaiYah to wait while he went to go find the others. MicaiYah let Rayn know that he had to hurry because there wasn't much time left. Okay, while you are getting your friends together, I will hurry home to find something to bring back to carry you all home in. I just don't have anything with me. I'll also need to prepare a place for you all to live in so that you can be in an environment that is close to this one.
Well, that sounds good.
I won't be long. Just go and tell the others and get them back here in a hurry so I can save you all.
Well, how long will that be, MicaiYah?
I'm not sure. Just be ready. I promise I'll be back in time. MicaiYah and Rayn parted ways, one going up the cliff and the other going to find his friends. MicaiYah. Dad, we need to hurry and get back to the house so I can get a big box or something to carry the bugs I found home in. MicaiYah said breathlessly as he reached the top of the cliff. His father had bent down and helped pull him the rest of the way up.
You!
Wow, son, you smell terrible. What happened down there? MicaiYah told his dad about how he had met Rayn and how he had warned him to go and tell the other bugs about the danger that was on the way. He also told his dad that Rayn was an icky bug and that they just smelled really bad for some reason. But that did not matter to him because he still wanted to save them and take them home to live with him.
I really have to save them.
MicaiYah had told his dad that if he didn't save them now, then no one would.
Smell me.
Amaziah hugged his son and also made him aware of how pleased he was with him. He was so impressed with his willingness to risk his own life in order to save others. Amaziah also let MicaiYah know that he had nothing to fear because he would be right there holding a rope to make sure he pulled MicaiYah up to safety when he had all the Icky Bugs safe in the box.
Straight? They're good, Dad.
MicaiYah hugged his dad once again, and they, along with the dog, jumped into the pickup truck and raced home to get the supplies they needed for the work ahead. Rayn rushed back to the place where he and the others were to meet at. He called everyone to gather around him. "Hey, what's this all about, Rayn? And where are your twigs? I knew we should have kept an eye on you."
No, wait, listen. I was up by the big mountain when suddenly a big shadow overtook me. I was scooped up into the hands of this big human. The human told me, "There's a fire on the way and it's headed your way." I didn't believe him at first, but I do believe him now.
"Oh, brother, Rayn, we don't want to hear the silly story of yours. Now, where were you?" asked Jude. He was one of the older boys in the group.
I'm telling the truth. We have to hurry and tell the others or we will all burn up.
Yeah, why should we believe this MicaiYah guy anyway? Maybe he just saw my unbelievable beauty from far off and decided he just had to be near me to absorb in my beauty and my gracefulness, and Lovely cried. Everyone looked at her and shook their heads. "Well, it could have happened," she snapped. "You know what? I do believe you, Rayn. And I'm going to believe this MicaiYah friend of yours too. If you think about it, why would this MicaiYah guy come down here to let us know if it were not true? He doesn't know us and doesn't owe us a thing. There's no point. I will help you spread the word, Rayn. How long do we have, by the way?"
He didn't say. He just said to meet him out by the big mountain. He promised he would be right back. He said he had to go home to make a place for us to live.
A lot of Icky Bugs believed and went to tell as many Icky Bugs as they could, but some thought Rayn had an imagination that was running wild. Those who believed Rayn met at the spot where MicaiYah said to meet him. Some came to laugh at the ones who actually showed up to wait for Rayn's imaginary friend. When all was said and done, every Icky Bug in town had been warned and given a choice to either believe Rayn or not. The majority did not. Thankfully, his mother, father, brother, and sisters did. The Icky Bugs had been waiting for nearly 30 minutes when a few started to become impatient. The ones who did not believe at all told them that they had told them so. The ones who did not believe and the ones who grew restless decided to leave and suggested to Rayn and his family and all of the other Icky Bugs that they too should leave and go home to their comfortable homes and stop wasting their valuable time waiting for something to show up that wasn't. Rayn and the rest of the Icky Bugs who decided to stay ignored the jokes. They looked up at the sky and waited patiently. The other Icky Bugs who had decided to leave had only been gone 5 minutes when a large shadow fell upon the group. MicaiYah appeared with a big smile on his face. In his hands was a big white box with holes at the sides. Rayn and the Icky Bugs began to jump and cheer. Some began to cry and hug one another. Rayn said to MicaiYah, crying,
I knew you would come. I knew it. I did all that you said, and a lot of the others helped too. But some of them did not believe me. That is why there's only a few of us here. Losers.
That's okay. Let's wait a few minutes and see if they return.
No, sir. Get up
Amaziah yelled down that he was sorry, but they could not wait any longer because the fire was almost upon them. MicaiYah quickly gathered the Icky Bugs into the box and started back up the cliff. The smoke was beginning to become thick. Amaziah kept a steady hand on the rope. As soon as MicaiYah reached the top, his father grabbed his arm and helped to hoist his son over the ledge. MicaiYah hugged his father hard, but they didn't say anything to each other though, because there wasn't any time. The smoke had become so thick, so MicaiYah and his dad ran as fast as they could, with MicaiYah clutching the Icky Bug safely in his arms. Through the thicket, they could feel the fire fast approaching. They were almost to the river when MicaiYah tripped, but his father was right there to help catch him, and he regained his balance right away. They made it across the river to the other side, and there they stopped to catch their breath. They could see the fire raging on the other side, but that is where it stopped because of the water in the river. They were all safe. MicaiYah opened the box so he could look inside to see how the Icky Bugs were doing. They were shaking with fear and crying because they knew a lot of their loved ones had just lost their lives today because of their failure to believe. They were super relieved that they were alive, though. MicaiYah gave them a reassuring smile. Then he hopped into the truck with his dad, and they headed home. Back at home, MicaiYah let the Icky Bugs out into a large section of his backyard that had plenty of plant life and flowers. He had added a large bird pool that usually sat on a column and put it into the middle of the flowers so that the bugs could have water. MicaiYah actually had added anything he could think of to the space in order to make them feel more at home. I know that you all are feeling sad right now, and I'm truly sorry for your loss, but I promise to take care of you for as long as you'll have me, MicaiYah told the Icky Bugs.
Mom, Dad, MicaiYah, this is my family and my friends,
Rayn said as he introduced everyone who had been rescued. MicaiYah kissed and wiped away every tear. He welcomed them all to their new home. They thought that their new home was much better than the old one. They settled down and began to live their new life. In the morning, MicaiYah brought them out some breakfast, but when he saw them, he stared in surprise.
Dad!
The Icky Bugs were gone. In their place, scattered throughout the garden, were white cocoons. MicaiYah called his dad. Well, son, I guess all the excitement caused them to go through a change. We'll just have to wait and see. You know, you never know what's going to happen. New beginnings. It was 2 weeks before the Icky Bugs emerged from their rest. One by one, they slowly woke up from their long sleep. They had been transformed. No longer were they ugly or smelly. They were now bright, beautiful, with colors you could not even explain. They stared at one another and started talking.
Wow, you look beautiful, lovely,
Rayn exclaimed.
What?
Are you just now figuring that out? Lovely said playfully. I know, and you are too.
Yeah.
This is incredible.
I can fly! I can fly! Screeched one of the others. Hey, what do you say we fly off and explore the world? Suggested Rayn's brother.
Not me. I'm staying right here. When we were ugly and stinky, not only did MicaiYah risk his life and come and save us, but his father allowed him to help us. I love him. I'm staying with MicaiYah. I'm here for life. You know what, Rayn? You're right. I'm staying here too. Sorry for even mentioning it. Now let's go find MicaiYah. The beautiful bugs left to go find MicaiYah to tell them that they were his for as long as he would have them, which was forever. Wow! Isn't that how strong Yahuwah's love is for us? When we were as filthy rags, dirty and smelly in sin, from breaking his statutes, laws, and commandments, he looked beyond that and allowed his only son, Yeshua, to save us from hell's sure fire. Now in his sight, we are beautiful. Wow! All right.
Once again, thank you for joining me for another Wow Stories. As always, I truly enjoy telling you these stories. And let me tell you, these stories I wrote them probably about 2004, and they have been published. But at this time, I'm making them into these audio stories for you to enjoy. And I really do enjoy bringing them to you. You know, when we were still in our sin, the Most High reached down, and through the blood of Yeshua, our Hamashiach, He pulled us out of the pit. He didn't wait for us to clean ourselves up. While we were yet sinners, His Son died for us. Remember that, family. It is our mission as the light to go out and preach the gospel or the Besorah to our brethren in order for them to know about our Hamashiach so that they too can be saved. And the Gentiles who will, attach themselves to us. But there will be many who will not believe. As long as you planted that seed, you were the watchman on the wall. It is up for us to plant the seed, but it is Yah who waters it and causes it to grow. So just do your part. I'll do my part as well. But until next time, brethren, I love you so much. And please come back again and join me for another Wow Stories. I want to say it here at the end of this story. These are happy filling stories, but I do have some that are, they can be a little bit more challenging or a little bit sad. So if you run across those, I will definitely put it in the comments. Warning, can be scary, like Interview with the Devil. It's not really scary, but it can be for someone who's young. So I want to put that message out there. But until next time, family, I love you so much, and I hope to see you back again on another Wow Stories. Until next time, please like, subscribe, and share. That's the best way to get these stories out there. You take care. Love you. So what do we always say? Shalom.